Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. I have a really fun and juicy video coming out next week, and for that video I needed to remove some pages from a book. And now look. So today I will be using 3 easy techniques of turning these book pages into useful writing areas basically. I'm going to go through the techniques and show you plenty of examples to inspire you right away. And then I will get to creating on camera where I use all 3 techniques all at once for extra inspiration. All right, let's dive in. Technique number 1 is to use paint. Bear with me, this is not about slapping paint down to cover the whole text, even though it can be. This is more about getting creative with one medium, in this case paint, and using the paint in many different ways. And the same goes with the other techniques that we'll get to in a moment. So I'll show you some examples for the paint. You can think about covering fully the text using your paint, as I have in this instance. And I think you can only really achieve that with black paint, in which case you must have a white pen to write on the black paint. You could probably use chalk paint, which I don't have. I'm not sure about the coverage. Or, you can go over it a few times to completely cover the text. So that's one option, completely covering the text. But as I said, you don't have to, because even if you just faintly cover the text, that still provides a beautiful surface to write on. I think you might be able to see in this example over here how you can still see that text underneath, but I wrote on top of it, a kind of just around this girl. Let your true colors shine through. It's shining through. That wasn't the idea, but what I'm trying to say is that you can still see the text, but it's quite obvious that this is something that you can use as writing space, right? So all I did here is a little bit of a wash of a paint, did a little bit of doodling, glued some little pieces down, ripped the edges, inked the edges, and it's done. It's ready to go onto a page. It can be stuck down. I mean, look how beautiful that looks. Just putting it on something else looks really nice. It can be stuck down on a book page, or really in general a page that you can't really write on because there's space here, but let's say these are really busy pages and you can't really do any journaling. You can pop one of these on top and that looks really quite nice. Or you can actually use this as your surface to create these directly, and then these can go into signatures and bound into journals. So just a little wash of paint to indicate that that's a writing space, and then you can decorate around it if you wish to do so. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular here. I have a die cut and then I've just sewn around. I love that look. Now I'm going to show you this one because when you see writing on the black, it just looks so good. The white pen on black paint. And I was just writing lyrics. I didn't have ideas, so I just wrote some lyrics from a song down and glued down a little image, sewn the edges, and look how cool that looks. And that's text. That's completely covered with that black paint. And yeah. And here are some more examples. Again, just the pink paint and then some little bits here. Did a bit of sewing around. This one here, I'm not a fan of my handwriting, but I just wanted to show you. I just painted the inside of this little frame. Randomly found some quote on the internet and just for demonstration purposes. Just to show you how you can create a really simple writing spot with a little bit of paint and you can still see the text showing through. And then I sewn this on top of tea-dyed cardstock and it's writing space at the back and that kind of thing. Then I was playing around with a stamp because I didn't like my writing. You can do that. And then I left one just blank. So just a little bit of paint in there. Beautiful. This one again used 2 different paints, blue and yellow, and a little bit of doodling and an image here. I think that's pretty obvious. that this can be a little space to be written on. And then you can do something like this, or swatches of paint, little swatches of paint. I sewn around each one. You don't have to. I actually have two that I haven't done anything with. I was using these to wipe the paint off of my brushes when I was painting these guys. And then again, like I said, sewing here. I didn't really enjoy sewing around, particularly on this piece. So perhaps for these two, I could do just hand-drawn, you know, a little border or nothing at all. It doesn't really have to have anything at all. You can embellish it by maybe hand stitching or gluing down some buttons or some stickers, all sorts of ways. But the whole point is you're not just putting paint down, you're actually doing something with it. You're getting creative in various ways. And this is the last one of the paint section that I wanted to show you here. I mean, this is fake writing. I think it's called asemic writing. It's quite fun to do. Let me show you how. Maybe I can use this one as an example. This is a good one because this yellow paint doesn't actually cover at all. It just looks like highlighter, doesn't it? This paint here, you can see that it actually does cover some of the writing, and these ones here. So it really depends on the quality of your paint. But this yellow one, you know, it doesn't really do anything, but still you can turn it into a journaling spot. So let's do something creative with this one, just real quick. I was just going to show you that asemic writing, but I don't know, let's do something fun with this. All right, we'll come back to that. I just wanted to show you how I do that fake asemic writing. I'll do it with the Sharpie so you can see really well. And I think it's called asemic writing. Yes, it is. I just Googled it quickly, but I'm not sure that what I'm about to do is actually asemic writing. But basically, it doesn't have any specific content. Like, you're not actually writing anything. It just looks like you're writing. And basically, you're just, let's just say, this is just an example. Okay, fake writing. It's not actually saying something. The way that I do it, I imagine that I'm writing actual words. So I'm going to write them and speak them out loud. It can be anything. It can be, yesterday I went for a drink and I really liked it. Okay, it's not looking great. It can look much better. I think there's too much space and it's too large. If we go smaller, it looks a whole lot better. I don't know why. Why am I doing this? This isn't even planned. Like, this wasn't supposed to be part of the video. Okay, I'm gonna do the lyrics again. I listen to the sounds of the rain falling down my window. You see, it doesn't actually say those words, but when I'm pretending that I'm writing actual words, it makes it easier for me to do these quiggly lines. It is something that I need to obviously work on. This is just made up writing, okay? And I think when you're doing art, it can look quite nice, even though what we're doing today is supposed to be creating actual writing spots that you write on. But I'm not a big fan of my writing at the moment, so this is why I do the fake writing. Okay, moving along. In order to make this a little bit more interesting, I'm going to choose a little thing from this Art by Marlene book full of, you know, stuff like this. And really my goal is to cover this imperfection. Okay, I'm not going to put too much thought into it. We've only just started this video and I'm already, I was going to say trespassing, but that's not the right word. I'm already moving away from the topic at hand. So let's do some fake writing, shall we? I feel like I want to do real writing now. Anyway, I'll glue this down first. Okay, here we go. This type of thing really is good for things you want to get out, but you don't want people to be able to read it. So let's say, for example, I want to say, I can't believe the audacity of so-and-so. You know, you write the name, yesterday, who do, they think they are, she thinks she is, whatever. Get it out. Get it all out. Get it all out. Sorry for yelling. I will never allow him or her or whatever, them, to speak to me that way again. You can throw in some swear words if you want. You know, you'll never know what it is that I wrote here. You will never know. You see, I'm going to write it again. I didn't actually write anything rude there, but you can see like some of the words you can actually read. You see, all out. I can read this because it's my writing, but then some of the words, like these two words down here, they're just, you know, pretend writing. It's not actual writing. It doesn't actually say anything. It looks like a heartbeat from the machine, you know, the ECG. What is it called? Oh, you know what? I think it's time to move on to technique number 2, because I'm feeling a bit giddy and I feel like I have to rein myself in. So just again, you know, I think the black is probably my favorite, but you can really have a whole lot of fun with this kind of thing. Technique number 2 is to use paper. Again, this seems like a no-brainer, right? You use paper to cover the text and then you can write on the paper. But I suppose, again, it's all in what you use and the way that you use it, and hopefully these examples here are going to inspire you. So first of all, I used some paper pads. I got out all the paper pads that I have in my house. I'll try and lay them out like this so you can see different examples. I mixed and matched, did a bit of collage. This is another little paper pad. These are 2 different ones. I kind of laid one this way, one this way, cut the excess off. This one here, this little, kind of like, I don't know what would they be, like little ticket stubs, little writing spots. And you see a little bit of collage, and then all I did, I'll bring it closer so you can see. I used this black fine liner pen and drew some wiggly lines all around the edges, including around all of these. You see that? And then I went in with a marker. This is nothing special, just a cheap marker I got off eBay for my kids. And I colored that in. And I love these markers actually because they kind of blend beautifully. They don't leave those marker marks. Let me show you what I mean. Well, that was a total fail. Here we go. I think it's the type of paper that you use. So the more the paper is absorbent, like this book page, the less chance of, you know, the marker marks. I don't even know how you see those little transitions when you're coloring. So I think this book page is really quite absorbent. Oh, look, it's see-through. Wow. I'm gonna have to do something with that. But in any case, that's also kind of unrelated, but just in case if you wanted to know, you see what I mean? Like, it just transforms the whole thing. You can pop it onto something, perhaps something with more contrast, maybe something like this. Look how cool that looks. Oh, I love how this looks actually. Gives me a really nice kind of Harry Potter feel for some reason. That kind of feel. And then on this one I have just plain white, also a paper pad. And I actually colored the whole page, as you can see, in yellow in that paint. And then sewn these 2 on, did a bit of sewing around just to make it a bit more fun. This one here is quite fun. I enjoyed making this one. So you can see when I lift it up, you can kind of see through. I used 2 offcuts, strips of paper, little offcuts, and glued them underneath this paper pad, little piece of paper. And that's all I did. Like, it looks really quite interesting, and it's an idea that can be taken further. You can, you know, maybe have a little handle here, or I don't know, this journal belongs to, and have it on the cover of a journal, perhaps with a little background underneath or something, you know, sticking out or lifting it up. This here, it looks like brads, but I mean like eyelets, but it's just gold cardstock, punched a hole through. And that's it. That's that one. and then another little paper pad glued onto the book page, which is then glued onto some cardstock, tea-dyed cardstock. Made that into a journaling spot. You know, we're really covering all of that text underneath, creating writing spots. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this type of thing I would actually do in a journal where I have a book page bound in. So let's take as an example this journal that I'm still working through. I'm still working in. And here's an example of a page that you can't write on. I created a pocket here. But let's say, you know, I don't really want to cover this because it's kind of like vintage. But let's say, I don't really think I have any other book pages. But here's a map page, right? And then, you know, how simple is it to create this as a page in a journal? We're actually pretending that the map page is a book page. And then you're just directly gluing these onto the book page to create the writing space, rather than creating this and then gluing this on this, which of course you can also do. All right, and here comes some more examples. You've seen that one. And then also, while in the category of paper, this is a great way to use your strips or your little offcuts. These are, you know, those little bits and pieces you have left over. Just use them like this on a page. Or like this, these are actually coming off of the page, and I love how that looks because it's very vintagey, and I absolutely love the way that watercolor paper looks when it's tea dyed and coffee dyed and so on. Look at that, how beautiful is that? And again, little offcut pieces. I did a video a little while ago using paper strips and what to do with paper strips. I'm going to link that video somewhere up here and in the description box. And so I have all of these because I was collecting them for a while. I have all of these strips of paper in this little box, and some of these are quite outstanding, like this one, absolutely beautiful. And these, look at them. I mean, I'm not going to throw them out, right? And then the others are just random, you know, little pieces. But when you put them on a book page like this, let's say inside your journal, and you just lay them down, you're creating like this writing space. It can also look like a little wardrobe or a set of drawers or something like that. This is the kind of thing that my mind kind of is going to at the moment. I think in last week's video, I was mentioning something similar to this. Actually, last week's video was the fabric scraps, and I'm all into, you know, using up those scraps. But it was the video before actually where I was talking about like a little wardrobe door kind of thing. You know, you open this up and then embellish it. It just reminds me of a wardrobe, and my mind keeps going in that direction, and I think it's a video idea that's calling me. This is something I'm gonna have to further elaborate on in my head. And the last example in this category that I have to show you is paper strips, which is what we were talking about now. But I'm talking about the long paper strips that, you know, when you're making signatures and then it's too large for your cover, and you get rid of the top or the sides, mostly the top really, and you have long strips of paper like this. And then you can glue them around the edge so that the paper strips continues onto the other side. So let's say this is bound, this is a page inside the journal. You can write here, 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 obviously, and then when you turn the page, you can continue on this side. Love how this looks. You're simply wrapping the edge of a page. Obviously, you have to cut, you know, it really depends on how long your strips are. These strips were a little bit shorter because they're not going all the way to the end of the page. But I keep all sorts of stuff. I think it was these ones that I used. You can see much shorter. And I pop it down, let's say there, wrap it around the edge. It's a little bit shorter on this side, but it still does the job. So the strips, you know, they don't even have to be long. And I think it looks really, really quite beautiful. Perhaps not on its own like this, but when it's made a part of something bigger, like when it's inside a journal or you add other stuff to it, I think it can be a really nice idea. I think it is a nice idea. So these are pretty much all of the examples that I have to show you in this category. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? When I say you use paper, I mean, you grab a piece of paper, you glue it down, and you've created a journaling spot. You know, I mean, you can really use any piece of paper. So I kind of, you know, didn't mention the obvious. I also always have these kinds of things on hand. I think this is from my natural dyeing video where I used, this is turmeric, for example, and this is cabbage, I think it was. And yeah, these kinds of things always come in handy to have in your stash so you can go and glue on top of book pages to create writing space and to cover basically the text. But I kind of wanted to make it include things which are a little bit less obvious, even though, I don't know, it's not that much of a outstanding idea, I know, but hopefully seeing the examples and all the different little details is inspiring you. Just little things like this, and little things like this, little dots. It can add a whole lot of extra fun to a project. And technique number 3 is sewing or doodling lines. And that makes it pretty obvious that this is something that you should use as writing space. So here you can see I've used my sewing machine and I did wiggly lines right through. And I actually did apply a little bit of paint. I was using my pre-prepared pieces, so it is kind of marrying the two ideas together, but I love it. And I wanted to actually write to show you, to demonstrate how it will look, and I did, but I don't particularly like this example, but it's here. I'm going to show it to you, even though it's not great. On this one here, I used straight sewing lines. By the way, we're getting to more examples. Oh, here's one. You don't need to sew. You can just use your Sharpie or your marker to draw the lines. And it's quite obvious that the lines are there for writing, okay? And here I just did a little bit of writing. It looks quite messy, not a fan, but there it is. This one I really, really love. And I actually really love this quote. Journaling is like whispering to oneself and listening at the same time. And I actually have this quote also in my book, which I don't mention nearly often enough. I will leave a link down below. There's a whole lot of fun stuff in here, see? Ooh. And there's also not a great photo of the author, which is me, but here is that quote, and I love it because it's a reminder of why do we actually journal, and of course I included here where you have journaling prompts, but this book is mainly step-by-step instructions about making all sorts of different projects and all that fun stuff, and the link to this book is in the description box below this video. Back to task at hand. Really simple here. Just draw the lines. They can be wiggly lines, they can be straight lines, they can be anything you want. There's plenty of examples that I'm going to show you, as I've already mentioned 5 times. Here's another one, just black paint, very, very messy, just slapped it on there. And then I used my white pen and just wrote whatever came to my mind in that moment. This was last night. And then next here is this one that I don't particularly, I don't know. I just don't like it. I think if you're using thicker thread, it might work. Just the thread kind of gets lost in all of that writing. So I'm not a fan. And in all honesty, you see this here? You don't need any lines, you don't need anything. You just write right over that text. Like, you don't need to cover it with anything, but you can. That's the whole point. Here's another one, bit of paint, some wiggly lines, which is kind of like this one here, but you see how I gave this one a frame. All that around, ripped the edges, inked the edges, and it looks, completely different. It looks like 3 fish. I should draw eyes and a little fish mouth. Okay, now this here, I love this idea. And I kind of, I love it and I kind of don't. But I did apply it onto this journal cover. It's going to be a little journal. And when you, apply it to a project, it just looks great. So I'm going to show you how I did this. It's actually using yarn. I used 3 different things. I used this one here, quite thick, you see that? I used this one here. That's the one that you can see on this one. And I used this one here. There's a specific technique on how you sew these on, and you obviously need a sewing machine for this. And how cool, how cool does this look? When you look at it like this, it's not that fun, but if you had it in your hand, if it's in a journal that you sold, or you bought a journal and it's on the front cover, I just love this idea. I'm going to show you how to do this. And then we'll get on to, I was going to say creating, but actually I'm just going to create something now using all of these techniques, all the 3 techniques I've shown you. And I'll show you how to do this as part of that creative process. Okay, I have no idea what I'm going to do, so I'm feeling really giddy today, but I'm also feeling very creative. So I really hope that what I create now is going to be real nice. So I'm going to start off with applying paint to my page. So let's pretend I'm applying paint. I'm sure you don't need to see me. Like, this is just a little bit of paint on a page. You can fully cover everything. You can mix the paints. You can see I was actually cleaning the brushes here. And I have a bit of this and a bit of that. And same kind of here, you can see a bit of blue in there. But you apply paint in whatever manner you want. Actually, let's apply a bit of paint, just so I can say that I've actually, you know, done all 3 techniques in this video. How fabulously not fabulous is this looking right now. All right, next thing I want to do is paper, and this is on the desk at the moment, so I'm gonna go with it. Let's maybe ink the edges first. All right, I'm gonna glue this down. All right, so that's glued down, but I'm hating the black paint there, so I'm trying to find something to do something with that. Maybe I can do something like that, just to take the attention away from that. I don't know what I was doing there with the black paint. All right, there we have it. That's glued down, and what's happened is I wanted to smush it down, you know, to glue it down, and then that paint wasn't dry yet, and now I have that blob. I could make it look like it's dripping down. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is the doodling business, and I'm doing it because I really like how it looked in the other one, so I'm just going to repeat. I'm really not loving how this is going, which is a shame because I really feel so creative right now. So I need to make this work. Next thing I'm going to do is rip the edges. So I still have to show you how to do this, but obviously I'm not going to be incorporating it as lines. I'm just going to do it in a, you know, incorporate it in a different way, but we will get to that. And I hope everything is going to start to kind of come together. Rip the edges, or just doing that made it look much better. Now I'm going to ink the edges, maybe just get rid of the white, bring it in a bit. Now I'm going to glue this on top of this tea-dyed piece of cardstock and perhaps trim it down, ink these edges, and then I'm going to show you the yarn thing. All right, here comes the yarn thing. So you need a sewing machine for this and your usual threads. I'm just using black thread in there. And then you need this little thing. So I just glued down a little piece of straw. You can use pasta and glue it down just with sticky tape. You can see that sticky tape there. You just need something that's going to hold your thread, because the next thing you're going to do is grab your chosen piece of yarn and thread it through, just like this, through the straw or through the pasta. All right, just like that. And then you pop that under the sewing foot. I'll show you up close. All right, so I've popped my piece in there. You can see that. And now I'm going to use a zigzag stitch. And as I'm going around, the machine is feeding the yarn through. And here we go. I really need to clean my sewing machine and change the needle because there's lots of skip stitches, but I think it's gonna be okay for this project. You can see all of the skip stitches here. I was gonna do that before filming, but I completely forgot. Okay, chop this off. So now I just want to finish this piece, create it into something, and then we'll go back to the sewing machine and I'll show you the wiggly lines, this kind of thing, where my sewing machine was doing really well and no skip stitches, but it doesn't matter about the skip stitches. Okay, now I want to finish this, make it into a journal cover. just using a piece of cardstock folded down in the middle, and now I'm thinking of doing a layer, just layering something like this. I'm going to cut this down and I'll be right back. Excellent. All right, I want to add a closure. So I'm going to glue that closure down first. I want the closure in the middle. So I just did a little mark there, and now apply glue and the closure. Excellent. And now I'm going to glue this piece down. Look how cool that looks. It's a shame that the whole thing is going to be covered with this piece, but oh well. And on it goes. And now this piece. This is really kind of not what the video is about. Turning book pages into writing spots. This is, you know, when the muse calls, you must answer. And now I'm thinking to finish it off, it will be nice to add some bling. And I have these shank buttons, so I can do something like this, or I could do something like this, and either way it's going to work. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of the shank part at the back. I'm just going to use some pliers to just break that off, really. And now I'm undecisive if I like just this one button there. I actually do like that a little bit better than this, but for some reason I feel like I should do this, or maybe I can do this. I don't know what to do. Maybe I can add an extra element. Maybe I can do this. All right, that's what I'm going to do. I'll do it all off camera. I just wanted to tell you that I'm using my hot glue gun to glue the buttons down, and I'm going to use glue for this, just a different, because I don't want the hot glue to be seeping through and be visible. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. All right, here we go. Total analysis paralysis, let me tell you. See how that light changes when I bring in the white? All right, this is what I did. I just glued a whole heap of shank buttons. They're all shank buttons. And I took the shanks off and glued them down, because no matter what I did, I just did not like how these buttons were looking on their own. So anyway, there it is. This is completely like not even on topic. Well, kind of is, because we are using that piece, but not really, to be honest. I just created a little something unplanned today. All right, now I did promise I'm going to show you how to do the wiggly lines. I might use this yarn this time. Okay, so the yarn goes through and then underneath the foot, just like that. Pop your paper through. The foot comes down, and then you start sewing. You might want to start off with doing some stitches just in one place, just like that. And then you start sewing, but you kind of are moving your paper around. I'm just going to keep sewing. When I was doing the lines, I would break the thread here and then go back in, but I'm just going to keep going. You can make a drawing, like you can do a heart and then follow the heart lines, you know. And I think my thread is doing something funny here, so I'll stop here. Yes, my thread came out of the needle somehow, but I think this will be enough to demonstrate. My machine is in need of a little clean, a dusting, and a new needle, but you see, you can do all sorts of different things and fun things with this type of thing. I really should have done it this way so that I can start writing here, but anyway, maybe I should write something, but I know I'm going to ruin it now. I mean, it's not that great, so it really doesn't matter. I tried to make it look a little bit better by going over it again and just doodling a little bit, but you know what? I think the muse has well and truly gone. Just hung me out to dry. How rude. But I do like this little piece, actually. I do like it. The more I look at it, I like it even more. This is the idea with the wiggly lines, not this, not that. Even, you know, that's not too bad. I just didn't like that writing. And this is also going to be a journal cover, a little journal. So we have sewing, not going in any particular order, but, you know, doodling lines, sewing on the pages, love that look, this kind of thing, all that fun stuff. Some are good, some are not, you know. Hopefully my experimentations have kind of, what's the words I'm looking for? given you some ideas, I suppose, and perhaps you can avoid the things that don't work so well. And, you know, the whole paper thing, very, very non-imaginative here, but you get the idea. Bit of collage, bit of this, bit of that. Love the strips, absolutely love this idea, especially when they're sticking up, sticking out of the page or off the page. And this is little, I love the drawers thing, and you know, all sorts of fun stuff we can have. And then the paint, you know, not my favorite. These colors in particular, not really my favorite one, but I do love this kind of thing. I love, love, love the black. I have to say, black and the white pen, absolutely beautiful. This black paint here and the gold, love that. This kind of thing, you know, this would look good in an art journal. And yeah, you know, we shall hide the ugly ones and only showcase the nice ones, which is really what we try to do with our selves and our personalities, isn't it? Striving to show the world the best parts of us and trying really not to let the demons out, you know? This is how you let the demons out. You just get it out. Say the things you will never actually say in real life. Things that you shouldn't say in real life. In any case, here's what I think happened. I had a different video planned for you guys this week in which I had to remove some book pages from a book, and then that wasn't ready. It wasn't at the level where I wanted it to be because I love that idea so much. So that's going to be next week. So then yesterday I had to sort of think about what am I going to do, and then I kind of loved this idea, just seeing what I can do with book pages that I had to, you know, I have all of these book pages. Look at this. Look at all these book pages, okay? This is, you know, I have all of these book pages now. And then this morning I woke up and the muse was well and truly here. I felt so creative. And if I'm being honest, this is what I wanted to do today. You see this? See this bag? It was sitting on my kitchen counter. Yesterday somehow it appeared. Who knows who brought it in. And I feel drawn, like you wouldn't believe, to make something with this. I really wanted to do this and not this. And I think I have been punished. The muse who was here didn't really like that this is what I went with. And I started off very inspired, feeling creative, and finished off, right now I'm not feeling all that great. Even though I'm not saying that I don't like this, I do like this. But I feel like I kind of went off the point a little bit, which is just, you know, sticking with the book pages. And I went and everyone knows how to do this. You stick pieces of paper down, you do a bit of collage. I mean, everyone knows how to do all of this stuff. But it's different when you see it in a video, like you are reminded of all the things that you know anyway. It's like, you know that you have too much stuff, let's say, and you need to declutter your house. A lot of us feel bogged down with all the stuff we have, and we feel like we need to declutter, and there's all these businesses and there's all these videos teaching you how to declutter. You know what you need to do. You need to get rid of stuff. It's very simple. But then when you watch a video, you might get inspiration. You might think about something a little bit differently. You might see some things that you haven't really seen before. So that's what I'm hoping when I do a video like this. Really straightforward, very simple ideas. You're just covering book pages, whatever. Everybody knows how to do that. I'm hoping that you're getting this extra bit of inspiration where you know how to do it, but it kind of helps you come up maybe with some new ideas, or you get some inspiration. It makes you want to do it, let's say. So even though I am feeling a bit like abandoned by the creative muse right now, sad times, I still am quite happy with what I achieved today, because I did it, and that's all that matters. So please let me know what you think in the comments down below. I always say this, but I really mean it. Let me know what you think. Which one of these things did you like the most? And what sort of an impact did this video have in particular? Because in particular, to do with the things that I just said, using decluttering as an example, did something that you saw here today make you think, oh, absolutely, I don't know, I'm just making this up. Did it make you think like, oh, I feel inspired, I'm going to go and do this thing, and this is what I'm going to try. And if you thought of something completely different to what I did today, also let us know in the comments down below. A lot of people read the comments, and I read the comments, of course. I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so very much for watching. If you're still here, big thumbs up to you guys for being here, because I know I'm rambling and you're still here. Are you still here? Maybe write down "I'm still here" in the comments, and then I'll know that you're still here. I think I'll go and chase that muse. All right, thank you so very much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.